After years of silence, tears finally flowed. Aimee Osbourne, once the most private member of rock's most public family, has broken down. In a heartbreaking message, she finally apologized to her father, Ozzy Osbourne, and begged for one last hug. Why now? What changed? And what does this mean for a family torn apart by fame, pain, and pride? You're not ready for what we're about to reveal. For decades, Aimee Osbourne was known as the Invisible Osbourne, the eldest daughter who chose to live in the shadows while the rest of her family thrived in the spotlight. While her siblings Jack and Kelly became household names through MTV's explosive reality series, The Osbournes, Aimee quietly distanced herself, refusing to appear, rejecting the chaos, and building a life completely apart from the fame machine that engulfed her family. But now, everything has changed. In a moment that has shocked even the most loyal Osbourne fans, Aimee has come forward with raw, emotional words about her father, legendary rock icon Ozzy Osbourne. After decades of estrangement, she's saying sorry, not for a headline, not for the cameras, but from her heart. What drove this unexpected confession? Was it Ozzy's declining health? Was it guilt? Or something deeper? Something that's been building for years behind closed doors? You won't believe the truth behind their fractured relationship, how it started, how it spiraled, and what Aimee revealed that left even Sharon Osbourne stunned. So stay with us, because we're about to uncover the layers of this emotional family saga, from childhood resentments to public fallout, and why Aimee's tearful apology might be the final chapter in one of rock's most tragic family dramas. And trust me, this is where it gets personal and heartbreaking. From the outside, the Osbournes looked like the ultimate rock and roll family, a wild, chaotic mix of fame, dysfunction, and unapologetic personality. The cameras captured their every fight, every joke, every absurd moment of life inside the Beverly Hills mansion. Millions tuned in, captivated by the madness, but not everyone wanted the spotlight. Aimee Osbourne, Ozzy and Sharon's eldest daughter, made a decision that would define her entire life. She refused to be on the show. She was just 16 when MTV came knocking. Aimee saw what was coming before anyone else did. While her family embraced the attention, Aimee walked away. She moved out of the house at a young age, choosing peace over fame. "I didn't want to grow up with a camera in my face every moment," she later said. "That wasn't me." Her absence wasn't just physical, it was emotional. As the world watched Jack and Kelly grow up in front of the cameras, Aimee became the forgotten Osbourne, the one who wasn't there, the one people barely mentioned. Behind closed doors, tensions brewed. While the cameras captured Ozzy's humorous chaos, Aimee saw something else. A father struggling with addiction, a home filled with instability, and a world where she didn't feel seen. Friends close to Aimee have described her childhood as lonely, isolated, and disconnected. While her parents were wrapped in tours, TV deals, and public image, Aimee longed for something they couldn't give her: normalcy. And when she couldn't find it in her family, she created her own path, even if it meant cutting ties. But this choice came at a price. Over the years, Aimee became a stranger to most fans, and to her own father. While Ozzy's life played out in headlines and rehab stays, Aimee kept quiet. She built a music career of her own, under the name ARO, but always remained low profile. And in all this silence, one thing remained painfully clear: Aimee and Ozzy were emotionally worlds apart. As Sharon once admitted in an interview, Aimee doesn't understand us, and we don't really understand her. But the real question is, was Aimee trying to protect herself? Or was she trying to send a message her father couldn't or wouldn't hear? The distance wasn't just about a reality show. It was about wounds that went far deeper. For years, Aimee Osbourne remained distant, emotionally, physically, and even spiritually, from her famous father. But in 2020, the entire Osbourne family and the world received news that would shake their very foundation. Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness, was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. At first, fans thought it was just another health scare. Ozzy had survived so much already. From near-death ATV accidents to years of substance abuse, the man seemed nearly indestructible. But this time, it was different. The tremors weren't going away. The stiffness in his body, the slurring of his words, and the loss of control. This wasn't something he could just bounce back from. Parkinson's, a progressive neurological disorder, slowly robs a person of their movement, speech, and in many cases, being sick. It was about realizing time was running out. For years, she had kept her distance to protect herself. She had justified her silence. She had healed alone. But now she was watching her father, a man once larger than life, slowly diminish before her very eyes. And that realization cracked something open in her heart. In a rare interview with close friends, Aimee reportedly broke down in tears, saying, "I spent so long trying to be okay without them. But now, I don't know if I can forgive myself if I don't make things right." But the reconciliation wouldn't come easily. The Osbournes were known for being loud, unfiltered, and fiercely proud. Ozzy himself had been described as emotionally distant, using humor or rage to mask his true feelings. Aimee, on the other hand, was introspective, quiet, and deeply sensitive. They were opposites, always had been. Yet something shifted after the Parkinson's diagnosis. According to a source close to the family, Ozzy began asking about Aimee more often. He'd say things like, "Is she okay? Do you think she hates me? I miss my little girl." Sharon, ever the matriarch, reportedly tried to bridge the gap, encouraging Aimee to visit her father. At first, Aimee resisted. She didn't want a photo op. She didn't want drama. But one day, she finally said yes. And when she walked into that quiet, dimly lit room and saw her father sitting there, frail, tired, and visibly shaken, all the years of pain, anger, and silence melted into one overwhelming emotion: sorrow. Ozzy reportedly looked up at her, eyes welling up, and said just 3 words: "I'm still here." It wasn't much, but for Aimee, it was everything. That meeting would become the turning point in their story, a fragile first step toward healing. What happens when a daughter who's spent most of her life in silence finally finds her voice? You get a moment so raw, so emotionally charged that even the strongest hearts can't help but break. After that initial reunion with Ozzy, Aimee didn't speak publicly. But behind the scenes, a deeply personal moment was unfolding, a private apology that had been building up for over 2 decades. According to an insider close to the Osbourne household, Aimee requested a one-on-one visit. No cameras, no family, just her and her father. Sharon, though protective, stepped aside. She knew this needed to happen. Just the 2 of them, heart to heart. Ozzy, confused but hopeful, agreed. When Aimee arrived, Ozzy was seated in his usual chair, hands trembling slightly, his gaze soft. He looked up at his daughter, the same one who had refused to appear on the Osbournes, the one who had walked her own lonely path. And for the first time in what felt like forever, he smiled. But Aimee wasn't there to smile. She came with pain in her eyes and truth on her tongue. "Dad," she reportedly began, voice quivering, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all the years I stayed away. I was hurt and angry and scared. I felt like I didn't belong in this family, in that house, in your world. I didn't know how to be me and still be your daughter." Ozzy didn't interrupt. He didn't look away. He just let the words land, each one hitting like a stone to the chest. Aimee continued, "You were so famous, so wild, so chaotic, and I just wanted peace. I didn't want to live on TV or in magazines. I didn't want the drugs, the screaming, the mess. I wanted normal. And I didn't know how to ask you for that. So instead, I left." There were tears now, on both sides. But what broke the silence next wasn't another apology. It was the unexpected truth that had been choking her all these years. "I missed you every day, even when I said I didn't. Even when I acted like you didn't matter. You did. I loved you, Dad. I just didn't know how to love you back then." Ozzy, who's never been one for emotional words, reportedly reached out with his shaking hand and grabbed hers. And then he said something that shattered every wall between them. "I didn't know how to be a dad to you, Aimee. I was barely a person. But I always loved you, even when you hated me, especially then." They hugged. For the first time in what might have been decades, father and daughter embraced, not as icons or headlines, but as broken people trying to heal. No cameras, no show, just love. The kind that's been bruised, battered, and buried, but never fully gone. That apology wasn't just for Ozzy. It was for her younger self, the little girl who needed a dad. It was for every lost birthday, every missed moment, every unsaid, "I love you." And as Aimee left that room, a quiet smile spread across her face. It wasn't relief. It was the first flicker of peace she'd felt in a very long time. But this emotional moment would stir up more than healing. It would ripple through the rest of the family and shake the public perception of Aimee Ozzy Osbourne wasn't televised. It wasn't posted on Instagram. It didn't make the cover of a magazine. But what happened afterward? That private moment cracked open a very public door, a moment that inspired millions and changed how the world saw the Osbournes and Aimee herself. Until now, Aimee had lived mostly as a shadow in the background. Despite being the firstborn of rock royalty, she was virtually unknown to the mainstream public. While her siblings Jack and Kelly became household names through MTV's The Osbournes, Aimee deliberately remained off camera. To the public, she was the mysterious Osbourne, the one who didn't play the fame game. But all that changed when whispers of her apology leaked. What started as a private healing between father and daughter became a viral wave of empathy, forgiveness, and yes, redemption. A powerful message shared. One of Aimee's close friends, a fellow musician, posted a cryptic message on social media the next day. It read, "Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk back into the fire you ran from and forgive what you thought was unforgivable." Fans quickly speculated it was about Aimee, and soon, and "Forgive Ozzy" and "Fuck, we love Aimee" started trending. Thousands began sharing their own stories of family estrangement, long overdue apologies, and painful reconciliations. One user posted, "Reading about Aimee Osbourne and her dad made me call my father after 6 years. Thank you for the courage." Another said, "Aimee didn't want the cameras. She wanted truth, and she finally found it." That takes real strength. Media can't stay silent. Entertainment outlets tried for years to get Aimee to talk. She always declined. But now, her silence spoke louder than words. Even major outlets like People, Rolling Stone, and Vanity Fair published thoughtful editorials, not gossip pieces, praising her for choosing the harder path of quiet integrity over sensationalism. They didn't mock her distance anymore, they celebrated it. Rolling Stone wrote, "In a world addicted to attention, Aimee Osbourne chose absence. But her return was proof that healing is more powerful than hype." This wasn't a PR move, it wasn't a comeback tour, this was real, raw, human, and that's why it resonated so deeply. Sharon's reaction, more than just a mother. Sharon Osbourne, known for her fierce loyalty and biting wit, was surprisingly tender when she addressed the situation in an interview shortly after Aimee's visit. "It's something I've prayed for, honestly. I never stopped loving my daughter, and I always hoped, one day, we'd all be in the same room again. Without cameras, without chaos, just love." She didn't cry during the interview, but her voice cracked. For someone as strong-willed as Sharon, that was more telling than tears. She added, "I don't blame Aimee for leaving. She did what she had to do to survive. But I'll tell you this, I'm damn proud she came back." That quiet strength from Sharon only further fueled the wave of support for Aimee. People began revisiting old clips of the Osbournes and asking, what didn't we see? What did Aimee protect herself from? Music with a message. Around this time, Aimee's band, ARO, Aimee Rachel Osbourne, saw a sudden spike in streams. Not because she marketed herself, but because people were curious about the real Aimee. And when they listened, they found pain, depth, and truth in her lyrics. In one haunting track titled House of Lies, Aimee sings, "You built your kingdom with broken glass. I walked away just to find myself." It was suddenly clear. Aimee had always been telling her story, just not in headlines. Fans flooded the comments on her videos, saying things like, "You've been telling the truth through your art this whole time. We're finally ready to hear it. This isn't just music, it's therapy. You left the circus and came back a woman, stronger than ever." The bigger picture. What Aimee did wasn't just brave. It was revolutionary in a world where celebrity culture demands constant exposure. She reminded everyone, famous or not, that sometimes the most powerful healing doesn't happen on stage or on social media or in front of a crowd. It happens in quiet rooms between two broken people, choosing to forgive. And that's why her story is bigger than the Osbournes. It's about children reuniting with estranged parents, choosing peace over pride, turning pain into purpose, breaking generational cycles. Aimee Osbourne didn't just return to her family, she returned to herself. In the end, what we're witnessing isn't just a celebrity family saga, it's a deeply human moment. Aimee Osbourne, once known only as the reclusive daughter who distanced herself from her family's fame, has shown the world something raw, something real. Her emotional apology, her yearning to embrace her father Ozzy one last time, cuts through decades of silence, misunderstanding, for all his loudness and rock persona, has always been a man who loved his family. And despite everything, a father's heart rarely closes completely to his child, especially one brave enough to say, "I'm sorry." This story is more than headlines. It's a mirror. How many of us are holding on to pain, to distance, to words unsaid? How many of us wait too long until there's no more time? Maybe it's time we all ask ourselves, is there someone we need to call, to forgive, to hug, while we still can? What do you think about Aimee's heartfelt apology? Do you think the Osbourne family will finally reconcile? Let us know in the comments below. If this story moved you, hit that like button to show your support. Don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories and emotional revelations from the world of fame, family, and truth. And as always,